New year, new me. It's a new year, and everybody needs a good kick in the ass. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back to the show. We've taken some time off.
Yeah,
And,
baby.
we learned a lot. Hey, look, nothing stops. We thought the break is over. You got through fourth quarter. You're trying to take a break. There are no breaks. There are no breaks when you're trying to make seven figures or you're making seven figures. So that's what we're going to talk about today. A lot of you guys need some motivation. I mean, this isn't going to give you motivation, okay? We're going to give you a kick in the ass, but we're going to tell you how to get to where you want to go to today on our, I guess we'll call it annual New Year, New Me annual event. I think this is the second one we did, this topic. What do you say, Greg?
Yeah. Hey, no theory, all real. Rated R for real, brother.
So we talked a little bit before the show, and we talked about getting to where you want to go and goals and all that, the typical bullshit that you hear over and over. And we're going to try to spin it a little bit in a different way and really dig into all these different things, right? Margot even gave us some great ideas. Shout out to Margot, who helps us produce the show, write a lot of this stuff. Go out and get yourself a Margot. But New Year's resolutions tend to be made in contrast to a pre-existing habit, right? Bad habits stick with people because they have immediate benefits like making us feel better in the short term, i.e., drugs, alcohol, partying, men, women, gambling. All those things make us feel good, right? The dopamine.
Brought to you by Red Bull.
The dopamine hit, right? We want the dopamine, and I had this conversation today with somebody who's in the short term. Everybody wants now. They want money now. But the real dopamine release is in the long term, the good dopamine, right? The animal side of the brain goes, give me this dopamine now. I mean, I was in Vegas for 18 months. If anybody doesn't know, I'm not in Vegas anymore, okay? When you get involved in the short-term dopamine, you don't want the long-term dopamine. So there's things that kill the success, the chase, the fun, the drug that we're in it for, which is sales, which we're going to talk more about today. But yeah, humans have a tendency to overestimate how easy it is to change your behavior. Now, when I was in Vegas, I got to admit, my mindset was a little different. I didn't think it was so easy to change some of the behaviors and find passion again, get excited again. And that's what a lot of you are going to have to do today. If you're on your way to change, and that are farming, go farm. Most of you on here, you're listening for hunting, you're listening to learn, you're listening for new ideas, and that's what we're going to continue to bring you, right? Show sponsor, by the way, Virtue Health. Check us out, virtuealliance.com. Shout out to those that are doing business with us. We thank those that are putting their cases with us, and we're providing some great value to our advisors out there. We got new exciting stuff coming, so definitely reach out to us to get some updates. That being said, I think we got to talk about a good point is everybody thinks, what should I change? What should I do? And one thing Margo talked to me about was start by quitting. Before we introduce new habits into your life, you have to clean up some space for them. That means letting go of the bad habits, right? Letting go of the events, the people that no longer serve yourself. And we're going to talk about environment. We're going to talk about discipline today. We're going to talk about aiming, all those things that you're going to need to get to the next step in your business or continue down that path. Because some guys are starting out. Some guys are midway there. They're cruising. They want to come back into the game. If you are, you're in the right place. If you're at 7 figures and you want to go to 8, you're in the right place. There's a guy on the show today that does 8 figures, multiple 8 figures. Well, a lot of figures. So, let's talk about it. And with that being said, the man that does multiple 8 figures, I don't know, he may know a thing or two, but, I want to give Craig the floor. There's one of my good friends and mentor that's helped me change a lot. I mean, Craig, tell us, give us a little opening. Tell us some story for those that want to get better and want to change or they want to continue down that path, and why 2023 can be their year.
Ain't no doubt about it. I mean, your decision to make a change happens in an instant, and then you'll never be the same. You made a really good point, right? So a lot of people overestimate how easy things are, and they're always kind of looking at New Year's resolutions as I got to do this and I got to do that, and I look at that through the lens of most of success in life, strangely enough, isn't adding on new stuff. And this is a paradox. Human beings' lives are full of paradoxes. You're going to get far more out of letting go of stuff, getting rid of stuff, stinking thinking, uh, just, bad ideas about money, fear of success, all these crazy belief systems that you may be unconscious about. But when you expose yourself to people and knowledge and information and systems and processes that show you better ways to do things, that allow you to get rid of things, the growth can be exponential. I'm going to tell a story about a guy who's on the show tonight, and it's pretty funny to see, what you could do. But I'm just reminded of so many stories of brokers out there. Here's an example of letting go, right? So, John, we did that event in Houston, right? And I remember this old timer coming up to me and saying, "Well, you don't understand. You don't understand. I mean, my clients expect to talk to me, right? So when they call about, anything, they expect to talk to me." I'm like, well, you see, that's just a lie you've told yourself. Maybe it makes you feel important. Maybe it makes you feel valued, but you're stupid because it's not true. The reality is that there are many, many things in our business that are either a low one or an important 10. And unfortunately, many of you convert everything into a 10, and then you reinforce it by your behavior year after year, and you train your clients to think that everything's a 10 and expect a 10 type response. And that's not reality. And so what you have to learn is, John said everybody should get themselves a Margot. We have so many Margos, don't we? You need to delegate, do, dish, or delegate, right? You don't need to do everything. And so just letting go of that, actually doing it, letting go of that would free you up. I think maybe in November we did a show, right? And I talked about, guys, get rid of all the time-sucking vampires in the tiny micro groups that you have. Let them go. Let somebody else deal with them so you can free up your time to work on A and B list clients. So those kind of things, it's letting go. It's not adding more crap to it, right? What do you say, John?
Yeah, I used to think that I had to have my hands in everything, and I thought I was the best. And in reality, you may be the best. You're the best in your office. You're going to be the best. You better be the best. You own the company. But I used to have to do the spreadsheets and the marketing. I used to have to do ancillary because I said, "You guys don't know what you're doing. All right, I'm the best. Let me do it." And all that was an ego thing in inexperience. Is inexperience. In reality, yeah, maybe ego in the beginning, but you realize later it's just inexperience and going, well, I could just review it. I don't need to actually do it. And again, there's certain things to delegate, there's certain things you can't, but you can delegate certain things. And then sometimes people are just better than you at it. Okay. Um, Margot, for example, is better at writing. I'm terrible at writing. Craig is very good at reading it. Craig isn't great at starting it. He will tell you. He's good at editing, right? And so letting go of some of these things you give you so much more room to go. This is what I want to be doing and all I need to be doing. I had conversations with an advisor today and figuring out me helping him grow his business. And I said, well, what's the goal? What's the end goal? What do we want to do? And there wasn't a direct answer. It's very simple. What do you want to do? I want to grow this business in this vernacular this way, and I want to make X amount of money because it gives me this lifestyle of X, Y, and Z. And so that's probably topic number one, is something to aim at, right? Jordan Peterson talks about we are creatures. We need something to aim at, right? It was like when I rode a motorcycle, okay? And they taught you when you rode a motorcycle, you keep your eyes ahead because that's where the bike goes, okay? So when you're going around bends, right, and you look over, and in Jersey, there may not be a guardrail going around a bend, and it's a ditch. So here's the road. It's just a ditch, and you're done. You go around that bend or wherever, you're in the ditch. So when you're going in the bend and you're if you're looking in the ditch, that's where the bike will go. They see people that hit trees and stuff, and what happens is they drive around a thing and they're looking at the tree. They're focused on the tree, and guess where the bike goes? It goes into the tree.
I can tell you from experience, John. You know my son Ryan. All right, okay, so we did competitive mountain biking, crazy stuff, single track, downhill. You're going over tree roots and rocks, and he taught me. He's like, Dad, you know that front brake, you'll almost never use it. Okay, so don't even keep your hand there. But make sure, he told me, make sure that you focus your eyes on where you want the front tire to go, because as soon as you start looking at what you want to avoid, you'll run into it. And it is so true. It's exactly what you just said, but I can tell you from the experience of going over the handlebars many times that you have to focus on where you want to go. And so, yes, the human brain is teleological. All that means is that it needs a target, right?
And
Tony Robbins,
yes.
what Tony Robbins calls it, well, look, all human beings do two things. You either move towards pleasure or you move away from pain. Either way, you've got a target to figure out what motivates you.
Yeah, and we talk. You talk about goal setting, this and that. And I think it's to set a number is great. That's one portion of it, right? What are the things you want in life? We talk about a vision board, and I was looking to add one of those things from my vision board to my arsenal this week. And it's here are the things that I wanted on my vision board as a kid. And I have something to aim at. I have a lifestyle that I want. As you get older, you get smarter, more experienced, and realize that the money, it just comes with it, right? We like success, we like chasing, we like winning. We're all action junkies for the sale. The money comes with it. It gives us what I want, what lifestyle. So maybe you want to sit back and go, what is it that I want? And I don't mean immediately, because the reality is the short-term stuff is the dopamine. You can go get whatever you want immediately right now. You can go buy this, that, or the other and get short-term dopamine. What is the long-term thing that you're going to start now and chase? Because you guys know in this business, we all know this is a long-term game. You don't make money for a while, but then you get into the lifestyle side of the business and things are great. So what are some of the things you want to aim at? And just myself, I'll give you an example, is I wanted to have the lifestyle of less stress, lean and mean, make money, less employees, less stress, all that good fun stuff, and I was fine with that. My aim has now changed to being around the right people. We'll talk about the environment, being excited and realizing, you know what? I'm bored with this lifestyle. I've gotten there. I'm comfortable. It's boring. I need something new. And so now I want to scale the company, which is a whole new adventure, a whole another mountain to climb. And so that is my aim for 2023. And everything over the past 60 days has been on that focus. And 100% of my time and money is going into that. So finding something to aim at, I think, is your first start. What do you say, Craig?
Yeah, I say that that's only the first half of the equation. The other half of the equation is establishing a deadline, right? What is it? I think it was Jim Rohn. He said that goals without deadlines are just wishes. And so you need to have a timeline that you're committing yourself to be accountable to. And hopefully you have a coach, a mentor, your spouse, your best friend, whatever, somebody who can help hold you accountable if that's the kind of person you are and you need that. But don't just have a goal, have a deadline.
Yeah, I think I said that to somebody else, and I said to him, they said, well, I want to get there. Where I was living, they said, I want to live over there too. One day I go, well, when do you want to do that by? Well, one day. I go, guess what? If you say you want to get there by the end of the year, you'll get there. It's not that far away. I mean, you could have these goals and things are where you want to be, but let's be reasonable in how long it's going to take to attain them and where you want to go. So I said to him, I said, look, that's feasible by the end of the year. You're talking about $1,000 or more a month in rent. That's nothing. So go out and get it done. And then you get a better lifestyle, because he had kids, he had a girlfriend. So yeah, setting a deadline. I think one of the biggest things, one of the troubles that I had over the past 18 months or so was discipline. Instead of finding motivation, building the habit, the discipline to build this structure around the aim, right? I'm aiming for this. Well, what does it take to get there? Well, if you're not willing to be self-disciplined to get there, I mean, you might as well quit now, because it's just not going to happen. What is some of the self-discipline? Doing the things that you don't want to do, because those are required to hit your aim, to hit the goal, to be a man, not the way you feel. Because every day you're going to wake up and find an excuse and a feeling of anxiety, depression, self-doubt, heartbreak, loneliness, hangover, whatever you want to say. You're going to find a reason not to do it. And so the real men, women in the world, the big players, the killers, find a way to do it. And that's really what, Craig, like you say, developing a habit. You're a big
Yeah.
guy.
That habit, I mean, literally could take you 60 seconds or 60 days to build a new habit. It really is the function of your commitment, your desire to no longer accept whatever condition you have that you're trying to move away from, or whatever goal you have that you want to move towards. Just figure that out for yourself. It's really that simple. Am I moving away from the fact that I don't make enough money? What are the symptoms of that? I try to do too many things myself. I don't invest in people who should be doing things that I shouldn't be doing, right? Old Dan Sullivan. He's like, you got to find people, you got to hire people, you got to work with people who love doing the stuff that you hate doing, right? Or John Asseroff. We all should be doing more of what we love, less of what we like, and none of what we hate. And yet the curse of so many brokers, the entrepreneurial curse, is that they feel like they have to do everything themselves. One of the things John grew in the last 12 months is realizing, okay, I tried to do all of these different things, and I tried to get through the learning curve to better understand it. And now I've come out on the other side, and I realize I need to pay somebody to do this function. I need to pay somebody else to do that function. I need to be a quarterback, who's overseeing it, not a producer, not a player. And so that gives you leverage. Leverage allows you to scale. Scale means you'll make more money. And as a consequence, if your goal was to be able to do what, like what John's doing right now, right? I'm going to talk out of school, but John's looking at which Lambo he's going to want. And so he can do that because he's delayed gratification. He's disciplined himself. He's been persistent in the face of lots of frustration, because let's face it, working with brokers, it's not for everybody. And so because we were all brokers ourselves, we understand what it's like. And so those are the kinds of things that you have to do. You got to be willing to do the things that unsuccessful people won't. And what do unsuccessful people do? They don't have goals. They don't have deadlines. They don't outsource. They don't scale. They don't get better. They don't educate themselves. They don't eliminate stuff from their life that doesn't serve them. I mean, let's face it, brokers, are you still going to events where everywhere you look around you is people just like you? I'm sorry, but you're never going to learn anything. You're not going to learn much. And what'll happen is, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 7 years from now, your book of business will be about the same, maybe a little more because of healthcare inflation. All you got to do is, if you think this is not true, just look back 3 years ago. What was your book? What's your book now? Right? Do you think that's a big number? You need to expose yourself to people who know about big numbers, right? We had a guy talk last year at our event. He had, remember him? Joe, he had 52 employees. He's like, I think you asked him the question. He's like, well, when you were smaller, right? Did you think you wanted to be a big agency and have all these? He says, yeah. He did. Okay, but now that you're on the other side of it, when you had 13 employees and now you have 52, are you making 4 times as much money now that you have all this headache? He's like, no. If you had it all to do over again, would you do it the same way? Probably not. That was insightful. That's a personal situation, but that's the idea, is less is more often than not. And for the average broker, they should be doing a lot less stuff, a lot less learning. Another curse of brokers, I need to know about everything. or I need to know how everything works from A to Z. I got to be able to build a watch. I'm not going to tell you what time it is. And that's a trap. That's a trap that keeps you stuck at a level of production, right? So how many years ago did we meet, John? 6, 5,
6 or 7.
6 years ago. John was the BSD, right? He comes to this event and he's the big swinging dick, and he's got a $400,000 or $500,000 book of business. And oh my God, he had all these ideas, right? Because he started out as nobody who knew anything and doing a small group. And the agency that he worked for, he was now out producing that guy. And so he came to this event and he realized, oh my God, there's people that have way bigger books of business. Oh my God. And so, long story short, John learned, and John used to do everything himself. And for a while, a couple of years, you lived in Orange County. You got to come to my office and see how I ran a business. And then you realized, wow, I could get a lot more done if I didn't do so much busy work and stuff that doesn't make me money and stuff that doesn't produce prospects to make me money in the future. And so, now John's concerned about, which penthouse apartment he's going to live in a high rise, and what color Lambo he's going to get. And that's not because he kept going to conferences where everybody produced the same amount as him. He exposed himself to people who do more business. You guys we've talked about it so many times, right? It's just not that. It's not like if you have a $500,000 book, you have to work twice as hard to get $1 million book. No, it's not true. It's not true at all. And so, the $1 million lifestyle is really, it's not that difficult in our business. The question is, do you have the discipline, the persistence? Can you delay the gratification to do the midterm and long-term things that you need to do to make that long money? Because the short money is just a distraction that it puts a lid on how much you can make. And then, then you get to the next point. How are you going to feel when you pay $1 million or more in taxes every year? See, there's just all different levels, and you need
welcome to Craig Lack's world. But yeah, I just want to go back for a second. Well, actually, let's say hello to everybody in the crowd. We did not say hello. If you're watching in, go ahead and type in the comments. Unfortunately, the new systems, the Facebooks, all that stuff, it doesn't show who's commenting anymore. All that good stuff. But we thank you for listening. Those listening on the podcast, check us out every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll keep bringing it to you. Let's go back to learning for a second. So what I've learned, funny enough, is it is good to get educated. It is good to take these courses. But what I realize is I need to get better at doing what I'm best at, right? Learning how to get better at sales and selling people. Now I have to shift to the world of running the company, CEO world, of managing people, not doing the selling. And what Craig said earlier that I've learned is I tried to learn each different thing, marketing, all these different things, and I tried to do it. And the reality is I'm not an expert at it, and I'll never be an expert because it's not what I do every day. And there's other people that are experts. Take sales operations for a second. Not my forte, okay? We could talk about environment in a minute, putting the right environment, but I put myself in the right environment by coming here, and I just happen to stumble on somebody that is an expert in that. And so what did I do? I realized, okay, I need to do this to scale. I know what I need to do, but I don't really know how to do it. I'm not the expert in do it. It's not what I do every day. And there's people that know how to do it better and faster. And all I have to do is write a check. Okay. So what you need to do is hire the consultants that understand how to do it and are experts in it, because you can't hire the best of the best. That's why consultants exist. That's why your clients hire you. You are the expert. So if you're thinking about doing something, I talked to Redmond today, Craig, and he was talking about, I know how to do that stuff. I know how to do it all. I just don't want to do it. And I can't do it. I said, yeah, you're getting smart now. Just hire a firm that's what they do. So you may want to think about, you're getting educated, but you don't need to go down the rabbit hole and understand everything like I did. Just pay the people that are experts that know how to do it just like you. And you should be talking about employers hiring you as a consultant, as the expert to manage risk, to lower cost, keep your broker, whatever. Maybe you'll hire me later. So I just wanted to touch on that learning part. Go back to environment for a second. I think everybody can agree on this simple one, Craig, is you are the 5 people you hang around most, right? Everybody's tired of hearing that. I'm tired of saying it. But what we never do is we never look at and we never change those 5 people. I like him. He's a nice guy. And again, you guys can have friends, family, but if you're trying to go to XYZ world and 7-figure, multiple 7, 8-figure world, you got to be around killers. You got to be around killers simply because of this. You can't be comfortable anymore. Everybody's comfortable in the environment, right? We're self-conscious people. And so we get ourselves in this environment that goes, you're the big dog. You're the big dog. You're good. You're beating everybody. I don't have to do shit. Everybody's been eating. And what does that do? That just makes you feel better, right? Which is comfortable. No, if you want to go up, you got to get yourself in the environment, put your ego to the side, okay, and go, the room I want to be in is the room that I'm an idiot, where I'm the pipsqueak, which I was when I met Craig. But I thought I was the big dog. But when I found out I was the pipsqueak, yeah, I was super mad, but I was also excited. So, holy shit, this other world exists that I didn't know about. But guess what? He knows about it, and I'm going to pay him and figure out how to get there. And so getting in the environment, one of the reasons I left Vegas. Vegas was not a good environment for many reasons outside of the chasing of the dopamine and the way people live there. The environment was the entrepreneurs that I wanted to be around, that I'm like, right? Your peers. Guys, it's not just being in this, I was lucky enough to come here to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, move into this beautiful high rise with a base rent of X, which keeps the talent of people in here at X. Everybody's above it, okay? And so you're naturally around. It's interesting. It's like, wow, everybody's doing things. Yeah, because it costs as much to live here. So there's a barrier to entry. And now you put yourself in a situation where you got entrepreneurs, salespeople, operation people that are doing well, doing better than you. And that's great. To me, that's exciting. I wish there was even more people doing better than me because I want to learn from them. Like I said, I put myself in an environment. Good buddy of mine now, he's helping us with consulting. That gets me excited. But I've changed my environment to be in that position. Now, you may not be able to change your environment in where you live, but you probably can change the environment of the people you hang around, right? Because
totally
you're still hanging around those same.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use bad words, but say it like it is. The people that probably they're not in your level where you want to be. And so the question is, why are you hanging around them so much if you're trying to get to that world? Because it will have an effect on you.
Yeah, if you want to go have drinks and dinner with them, you can do that at any time. You don't have to waste your time at a conference. Look, John, not even 6 months ago, John wanted to get better at business. Where'd he go? He went to hear a billionaire talk about how he took his startup from 0 to $1 billion market valuation as a SaaS provider. And
in 4 years,
nothing to do with health insurance, because most of the things you need to learn have nothing to do with more products, features, and benefits, knuckleheads. It's on how to run a business, how to generate new leads, how to do marketing, how to improve your sales, not more product knowledge. That's a trap. That's a lie.
And it's like, guys, all you have to do. I remember I wrote the check. It was $1,000. I almost laughed when I saw the price. What's the catch? Why is it so cheap? And when I got there, I go, I can't believe all these people, idiots. They're idiots for not signing up or hesitating. The guy grew his company $1 billion. That's number one. The guy is a stud. I've watched him from day one. He was supposed to be on the show. We had a show. The technology wasn't working. That was a while back. But I've watched him for years now regularly. And the guy's a savage. The guy is unbelievable, superstar. There's no question in my mind why he's not going to be worth $10 million. And I'm not going to be surprised at all. I see my own. But I knew I need to figure out what in the hell did he do to scale the company $1 billion in valuation in 4 years? See, in the insurance industry, we're behind. These SaaS companies the technology companies are building $1 billion businesses like nothing. Okay. And so you might want to take a page from their book, pick up some of the books we talked about, probably starting with predictable revenue, which is always it's always pretty close to me. You see me on shows. I always have buy. This is the Silicon Valley Bible, and so put yourself in this environment. And what happened is Craig. They go around the room. You introduce yourself.
Yeah.
People are what revenue at where you want to get to, and your biggest problem. The guy. So the guy next to me goes, "Well, I got a problem. We were doing 40 million in revenue, and COVID hit. COVID hit. Boom. Right." Well, the problem was we went to 93 million in revenue the next year. Big problem, right? Guys flying around private jet. I mean, that's $1,000. I mean, forget about the guy running. That's who I'm next to in the audience. You've got I can't even list the amount of people that are way ahead of me. And as everybody's talking, it's motivating me, getting me excited, going, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're sitting around making X. It's a joke. They're making this because it's not that hard. They figure out how to go from here, because they always say, and I think it's true, Craig, you would agree, is the first million is the hardest to get. Once you get past the first,
Oh, yeah,
million,
totally.
it's
Yeah,
easier
yeah,
to
yeah.
capture more. You realize money is free. It's nothing, right? It becomes the game. You just got to figure out the game from the players that know how to do it. And there's a shortcut, semi shortcut to success, and that's really figuring out who the people that done it and just paying them and being around them. So environment, right? Get some competition. We have the 100 clubs calls that we're going to restart up again. A lot of you listen, you're independent guys. Those that are in agencies, you've got your internal team to compete with, right? Because you need competition. You need competition, that whether it's your environment or people that you work with. And so get around some people to compete with, right? Those 5 people, if they're killers, you're not going to be able to sit in that room, and you're going to be uncomfortable, which is what you want. But at some point, if you do what you're supposed to do, you will rise to the occasion in that room, and then you may leave that room because you get too big for that room. So
Remember that sign I had in my office? Comfort kills achievement. That was my reminder, because I had an agency since I was 24 years old, and I managed a lifestyle. You're either building a business or you're managing a lifestyle. Let's face it, 95+% of brokers are managing a lifestyle, and that's okay. But when you want to build a business, you got to get out of that comfort lifestyle and learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
yeah,
That's
let's be. I'll be honest. I went to peer to building business the last 8 or the 18 months I was in Vegas. I said, let me try this lifestyle thing. I found out it's not that much fun. It's boring. It wasn't for
it. You got
me.
bored.
And so, I try to live a lifestyle more and only work semi-regular hours, right? And I realized, yeah, that's not for me. And like I said, Craig said, if your lifestyle, me, if I had kids, it'd be different. That's okay. But most of you on here because you want to grow your business and you want to get after it. So, I mean, if you could create a smaller network of people that live near you and get with them on a weekly basis to talk about money, to talk about business, go out and do it. It doesn't have to be a mastermind, because masterminds, the challenge with the masterminds is they're quarterly, right? It's great to learn it, but it's not an ongoing thing, so you could forget about it very easily. So environment, competition is great, right? So on and so forth. Make some friends, get yourself an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah. Stop sabotaging yourself.
Yeah. Self-sabotage too is comparing yourself to other people. Don't compare yourself. When I met Craig and some other people, I realized that I was a pipsqueak, right? And I realized I was mad. I wasn't mad at them comparing myself to them. I compared myself to them going, this is good because I can do that. I can be as good as them and get there. I was more mad at myself. What does Bobby Axelrod said, anger, it's or hate, and it's an unlimited resource. Craig doesn't get this still, but I work best when I get angry. When I get mad and pissed off and angry, I start to go. That's the motivator, right? Talk about motivators for a second. Anger, depression, heartbreak, great motivator. Loneliness, being out of shape, anxiety, the list goes on. Wherever you need to find yourself to get motivated and pissed off. When I get pissed off, I get my ass up and I do things. So find out what that is. And stop comparing yourself to people in a negative way, because Jordan Peterson said, it's fair to compare yourself to people at 15, 16. You're fairly going to be the same at that age, right? It's fair to compare to see where you are with another 15-year-old in size. But when you get older, you don't know the life experiences. You don't know what they've gone up with. They may grow up in a house where they had a Craig Lack at a young age and they got mentored and taught at a young age. You didn't, right? You had trauma in your life. You had this situation. You had this parent die. You had kids. So to compare yourself to somebody just on a grand scheme of things, it's not fair to you. The only thing fair is to going, who was I yesterday, right? They talk about that is who was I yesterday? Am I better than I was yesterday? Am I going in the right direction? Yes. Okay. But don't sit there because you're going to beat yourself up. You guys listen to the show, you listen to this podcast, and you're going to get excited. You're going to get motivated. And you're gonna make excuses next day. Maybe you stay motivated. Maybe you got to go back and listen to this podcast and say, I got to listen to John and Craig kick myself in the ass again, because that's what I do. This is nothing more than me telling you things that I do and stuff that I learned from other people that make a lot of money, billions of dollars, and are successful, because that's where I want to go, right? One last thing, we're getting tight on time, but this is a new episode. We've been off for a month, so we got a lot to say. Mentor. Craig was my mentor. Craig was one of my mentors. What did I do? I visited California, and I said, shit, Craig tricked me. We're in the car, and I said, this is great. This is great being around you all day and just spending days with you, a couple days with you, to learn from you, like 8 hours in a day.
Well, wait. First, I took him to the rooftop bar in Laguna Beach, and we're watching the sunset, and it's 70 degrees. He's like, "Is it like this all the time?" I'm like, "It's like this all the time, man. Most of the year." He's like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "Yeah, you could experience this."
Yeah, I mean, he put me up in a hotel on the water. I said, "This is how you guys live out here. This is unrealistic." But being in the car with him, listening, I go, "Wow, this is awesome. Me writing so much. I learned so much." And he looks at me and goes, imagine if you were here full time. And that's when it went off my head. I said, I got to get out here. And so I signed a lease, and I said, I'm going to come out once every 2 months. And what happened? I ended up going out there and staying there because it was cool to hang out with you and learn, and actually, live there wasn't too bad.
We had that cool podcast space too in your second bedroom. That was really cool.
I missed. That was the coolest part. But getting the mentor and being around them can just accelerate, because sometimes you can hear it. Sometimes, like, you'll listen on a show and you'll hear it, but you can't fathom it, you can't believe it, you can't see it. And even as Craig would teach me, he's like, I had a retail business, but I don't do anything. Then I was around it and saw it, and I laughed. And then you fall into it more, because sometimes you have to be around it and you have to actually see it and feel it to believe that it can be done. And, those are some of the things that I learned and picked up. So if you could find them, and it doesn't have to be in the health insurance industry. I was lucky enough that Craig could teach me the health insurance side, but he also taught me the life, the living, taking off time, vacation, all that good, fun stuff. I mean, Craig is also, has gotten me to spend a lot of money that maybe I wouldn't have done in the past. But he always says, are you making more than you ever have? And the answer is yes. Right.
Yeah.
So it all goes hand in hand. But getting a mentor,
John, like a lot of people, right, got old tapes in his head about money, and and so you have to, as you get older and more mature, you gotta get rid of those tapes playing in your head. Remember, we've talked about this many times, right? Nothing but more than software running up in the brain computer, and it can all be reprogrammed. So you have to expose yourself to people and ideas and places and where you can learn new ways to deal with money. And so I just try to assist John in giving himself permission to experience positive things and not worry about the money, because it's not, the money's never the goal. It's just a byproduct of doing the right thing. The money's inevitable. See, as soon as you start realizing it's not about chasing the money, it's about doing the right things over and over again. The things that other people won't do, the things that you love doing, the things that help you grow, that make you scale, that give you more prospects, that give you more meetings, that give you more opportunities, and the money will just naturally happen. It's never about the money. But when you get it, you need to enjoy it. Give yourself permission.
Yeah, at some time you got to. I heard somebody the other day. He goes, "Look, this is what I do. I put 50% of my money to things, longer term investment, whatever, and I spend 50% of my money now because I might be dead tomorrow and I'm going to enjoy myself. 50% of the money now, 50% for later. And if you're making X, that makes sense, right? Might be, it's probably, especially in his level, it's a really good lifestyle if you're pissing 50% of it. So, this, I mean, I think your son told me, he said, look, you can live a balling lifestyle on 20 grand a month net. You can live a pretty, maybe not with a wife and kids, but you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, if all your stuff is paid for, it'd be like, you get
yeah,
tired of spending money.
key
Tough.
question starting to you as we close out here. Can you tolerate the business results you're currently getting and the money you're currently making? If you can, that's what you're going to continue getting, right? It's only when you decide that this is no longer what I want or what I can tolerate, the results you're getting, that you start to change them. We're hoping that we can spark some ideas, some things to get you guys going. If you're on the right path, continue down that right path. We're happy for you. Let us know what we can do to help you. But it's a lot. I mean, we're all burnt out now and thinking whatever you want to think. You might be taking vacation, but this is a good time to think and plan. I always used to use January for planning. I'm now ahead of the game. I've been planning since November and working on stuff since November, but I also am not doing everything like I once was. I have a lot. I have a great teams behind me, people like Margot and other people that are helping me with my business and sales and everything else. So it allows me to do those other things. Okay. So we have Ray Cobra. Shout out to Ray Cobra over there in New York.
Yo, Ray in New York.
How's the weather up there, buddy? I remember those days, snow and freezing cold. I did not come home for Christmas for
Long
5 degree
Island is a
weather.
nice
I am sorry. David Goggins is motivated by haters. He creates mixtapes of his haters criticizing him and listens to as he trains for ultra marathons. That's awesome. If you guys don't know David Goggins, and stud, if you go listen to him on Impact Theory, one of them was really good. I mean, he's as tough as nails, as tough as it gets from the brain. He's the guy that goes,
I want a former Navy SEAL guy.
Yeah. I want to try to make my body push it to the pain that I didn't know exists. He says, when you get to the excruciating pain where you no longer continue, you're 40% of what your body can take. I mean, obviously he's tested it. I mean, guy's leg will fall off and he keeps going and going and going. Good book. You Can't Hurt Me. But if you're not a reader, not the biggest reader, I like video. Just listen to some of them. Just Google David Goggins. Really good stuff. Mental stuff. Excuse me, because this is all in the brain, right? We talked about discipline. I think the biggest thing I can tell you is discipline. Get yourself in the gym, get the endorphins going, build some self-discipline around what you're doing. Because I remember when I started, it's just like, the reality is getting up every day, and doing it, even though it sucked, but I was excited. I knew it was going to suck, but I was so excited as I started. Some people aren't as excited anymore. I get it. I wasn't excited very recently, but now I am. So what else, Craig?
Oh, hey, that's a plateful, man. There's a lot of nuggets in there tonight. Hopefully, people will enjoy it. They'll want to go back, share it with a friend or a family member, and go, hey.
Yeah, guys, keep listening, keep listening, keep learning. 2023, big year. Don't listen to everybody with the news, the media, the recessions. That's just great opportunity for people going after it, because the guys that make all the money is when the blood's on the streets. And if you're not working, if you're not marketing, if you're not getting ready for this, you're going to miss out, because this is when all the money is made and the growth happens, because everybody else is crying in their bed. They're making excuses. They're finding reasons not to do this. They're getting comfortable. And I'll tell you what, me and Greg aren't going to be.
Yeah, the bar is not high, guys and gals. It's just not high. So, yeah, just realize that almost 9 out of 10 of your competitors are complacent. They're comfortable, and they're not really doing much. So that's opportunity.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Heads Up Advisor every week, same place, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you next week, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Heads Up Advisor.